seat to re-strategize ahead of the polls. Tonight, we're joined by Professor George Wajackoyah, also the State House, in the State House race with the Roots Party of Kenya. So, Professor, yes, thank you so much for dedicating your time for this discussion.
Thank you, thank you.
Right, maybe we may start with a proper introduction of yourself, because we've read so much about you. So maybe let's get it from you. Tell us much about yourself. What we need to know.
Actually, I don't have much. I'll just sum up myself as a former street boy, a grave digger, security guard, right, policeman, and a lawyer.
Right. Interesting. But then there's a very important bit about you, you being a professor. You could probably tell us about, just in a short, about your academic backgrounds. You managed to, having 14 degrees and stuff.
It's not 14, but I can just name some of the law schools I've been,
right,
if I can remember all of them. I did my bachelor's at Wolverhampton University in the UK. Did my master's at School of Oriental and African Studies, University of London. Did another master's at University of Warwick. Went to Westminster Legal Practice School. I've been to World University Service. I've been to University of Burundi. I've been to University of Baltimore in Maryland. I've been to American Heritage University. Recently I've been to Nairobi University, right, which I did. I graduated on the 17th of December. Kenya School of Law, Kenya Police. And maybe I'll remember as we continue.
Right. Yeah. Now, maybe we just dive deep into the discussion of the night. In your as a view, in your view as a contestant for the top seat, right, what do you feel is amiss in the country that probably when you probably could clinch the seat, you would first of all give it a priority in the country?
First of all, Kenya suffers from insanity, vicious circle of insanity, whereby for the last 50 years, the country has not moved, except for those who have been in power, right, recycling each other, lying to voters, telling voters what is not possible. And at the end of the day, when they go in there, then they forget what they have promised. They will forget about the covenant.
Right.
Kenya is the only country in this region which is 50 years behind in terms of development. And 90% of politicians in Kenya need some kind of psychiatric treatment in terms of telling lies, being very corrupt, and doing what they are doing, and now recycling themselves again. And probably I would say that Kenya should have a university in corruption, because we have people who have already attained imaginary PhDs in corruption. Right. I've seen some joining them, before I come to your question, getting certificates in corruption, masters in corruption, and then lying to Kenyans.
Right.
If it was in West Africa, probably things could have changed. Because in West Africa, people lied shortly and the coups were there to minimize.
We've seen it in Burkina Faso.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I've come in to tell Kenyans that it's high time. It is high time that we changed and gave Kenyans what they want to do and run away with it. Growth of marijuana, you call it ganja, you call it umsala, call it whatever you want to call it.
Right.
That's what I'm going to legalize in my first 100 days, right, in office.
Maybe before we get into that, the other contenders for the top seat are championing for reviving the economy. We've seen it with the UDA coming with the bottom-up economic model. The Azimio counterparts also, coming up with the third economic revolution. And at a point, I heard that you hinted about, you'd stop and review all the Chinese contracts in the country. Is it the strategy that, you'll be probably having to revive the economy of the country?
When I said that statement in Mombasa day before yesterday, after addressing people who have been misplaced in infrastructure as a result of this one piece of metal from Mombasa to Naivasha, known as SGR,
right,
and the kind of contracts that the Chinese did with the Kenyan government officials, whom we are yet to know, and probably will also hold them accountable after taking over the government. The Americans agree with me, the British agree with me, because what the Chinese have done is, number one, they have taken over our country. Number two, we are being told by a certain minister that Mandarin will be compulsory. Number three, if you look at the kind of nasty road systems that they have been building, where we've had more road accidents in the country than before, and nobody is complaining, not even the minister for roads and what have you. And you look at now the SGR, as I said before, and the monopolization of transportation system or infrastructure, where they come in, they don't want to learn Swahili.
Right.
Some of them are probably prison addicts who have been ventured into coming into a country and violating the immigration rules. If you go to the United States today and you want to invest, one of the things they require you to do is, one, you must speak in English or show the American government how you're going to communicate with the Americans through the labor certification.
Right.
And then you also must show the American people that there is no any other American who can do the job. In Kenya, some ministers fly into China, make bilateral agreements, and bring these people and to take jobs that Kenyans can do.
Right.
Number two, take monopolize our industries. Number three, bring in contraband, because anything from China is good. They even brought in, you remember the plane saga at the airport where they brought in COVID.
Sure.
And somebody was sacked, and I'm very grateful that my friend Wakili Omari had to intervene for that young man who saw them being downloaded to bring in COVID and what have you. So what we need to do now is to tell them to stop. As soon as I become the president, I will stop their companies and review their contracts, and at the same time pass legislation to legalize ganja, ask Kenyans to grow their own crop because there will be no corruption,
right.
And then let's give them 118 sacks of ganja so that we can pay off the debt and for them to leave our port alone.
Interesting. Now, ahead of the polls, we have seen coalitions being formed and, to solidify strategies on the State House race. And, we have seen the recent one being the political earthquake where ANC joined, hands with the UDA party. Don't you feel shaken doing it alone ahead of polls?
I don't care. And I don't care whether people will vote for me or not. If people want to go back to where we are now, let them do it. But if people want to look into the future, let them do the Obama style, where Americans were tired with the status quo. What new will Mudavadi bring to this country that we don't know? What new will Ruto bring in this country that we don't know? What new will Raila bring in this country that we don't know? Raila recently, and I'll start with Raila, he comes up and says that we are going to invest in Mumias.
Right.
And then he stands up another Muindi whom we don't even know that this is the investor I'm taking to Mumias. Yeah. Yet they took Kidero to Mumias. And what happened in Mumias, nobody's telling us. Raila has not even raised his finger to tell Kenyans what actually happened to Mumias, what happened to Nzoia. He was a prime minister by that time. And what has happened in terms of what those that were appointed by them stole. And now you come in, you violate the constitution, you violate the economic constitution of the people of Kenya by not even asking them, who should we bring to do investment? What is the stock holding? What do you want these people to do? Or what do you want yourself to do to participate in the economic venture of this magnitude?
Right.
You find him and Oparanya standing up, we have now brought you an investor. Come on. This time, my government will hold them accountable. Now, when it comes to Ruto and Mudavadi, there have been scandals. Where is Ruto using the church to conduit corruption? Where churches coming up to be conduitees of corruption? Where has he been getting the money from?
Right.
And the people that I'm going to put to task are those commissioners in KRA, the current commissioners, and those who have been there when they failed in their duties and responsibility to take churches to the task as to how and where and when that money was brought into the churches. And those pastors who accepted these monies, they will also have to be accountable. And Ruto will have to tell this country where he got that money from.
Right.
Because it's not a joke. I am not a joke.
Sure.
I'm a real man, and I'm going to be the president of this country if Kenyans give me a chance.
Right.
But if they want to recycle themselves in what is going on, singing, or you get grown-up men singing on and dancing on the stool and wasting taxpayers' money, talk to the people, have issue-based kind of politics,
Right.
and move with the magnitude, and let the people decide. Ganja is the only solution.
Right.
Now we've seen something like wheelbarrow, push wheelbarrow, taking back to the days of East African railways and East African community railways and harbors, where wheelbarrows and bicycles were given to retirees,
Right.
plus the Sanyo radio. You want our children to go to be pushing wheelbarrow. You are telling us that ina mama mboga sijui mama mboga nini, but you're not telling us where you're going to get the money to subsidize the economy and create infrastructure and conducive environment for trade with these people. Why?
Right.
These are all lies and gimmicks, but one day is too long in politics.
Sure.
And because I've been trending of late, I am here to come out, and trust me, I will not do their style of politics of going around jumping up and down and having people speak on the platform.
Right.
Atuya kona chuma. And this man is married, you are married, you are trading yourself there. This country is burning. We need prayers. Probably Prophet Reward should come up with repentance. The Islamic community, let me also come to the mosques.
Yeah.
They have done us a very great favor. They refused corruption money.
Yeah.
I'm yet to see a mosque where somebody has gone to fundraise and given them money. I think Quran is a good place to. Yeah.
Now, that's interesting, Professor. Now, Kenya has had a history of the presidential race boiling down to a two-horse race. What's your perception of this? And probably, do you think you're going to change this narrative that has been there for quite some time?
That's the media's creation. Some of the media operatives are owned by individuals who are also conduits of corruption. That's why journalists are not paid. That's why journalists have to depend on handouts from politicians whenever they go to cover a political event. I will regulate that department very seriously. And I will also close up some of these media houses so that we can come up with a proper regulation that will be implemented for journalists or clerics to be paid properly, to be remunerated properly. Journalists do they are the fourth estate and they do a lot of work, but who pays them well? Who cares about them? We have many universities teaching media studies. We have also to find out why the media houses in America, why the media houses in Europe, particularly Britain, are very lucrative and attractive to those who want to become media men. That's something that I'm going to do. So this narrative of two horses, two donkeys, maybe for me is marijuana. Let me have my narrative as ganja, the ganja boy. Let's look at the ganja, and I'm asking my people to come out, or those who support this idea, come up in large numbers, wear your hats if you can, the periphery, and let's move on and move this country from where it is, in the donkey pit, to our destiny.
Maybe just to ask on the ganja aspect of it, because when you made the first utterance that you will be legalizing ganja in Kenya, this has elicited mixed reactions from Kenyans. Some of them are for the idea, and some of them are against it. So maybe you just tell us in depth what's the main agenda that you're having behind legalizing ganja in Kenya.
Can I look at the scientific facts instead of just running my mouth?
Kindly.
UNESCO has already made ganja, marijuana as a heritage, a protected plant, a plant planted by God, created by God. And also if you go in the Old Testament, you'll find out that the prophets embraced ganja. It's also concluded that the oil that was used to anoint Jesus by that woman prostitute, the seeds were made from ganja. Jesus never said anything wrong about it. If you go to the Quran, they have also spoken very well about ganja.
Right.
Now, when it comes now to what I want to implement in the policy, I'm not going to say that I'm going to regulate things, people to be smoking anyhow. I'm going into marijuana industrial complex.
Right.
I want to make it for industrial use. The marine ropes you see, they're made out of the fiber.
Yes.
If you go to textiles, shoes, food, paper, bioplastics, and insulation, made from there. Pfizer, the biggest pharmaceutical industry, splashed out $6.7 billion to buy a cannabinoid medical company for purposes of treatment of ganja. And you can also see that in the US today, they're trying to do away with painkillers, and the doctors can prescribe ganja for those who can use it, and that's why we don't have a lot of lunatics like we have them here in Mathare Valley. If I was, or if the day I become elected president and we pass legislation, you'll not see lunatics on the street. These guys will just be given what they're lacking, ganja, so and they'll be free.
That's the medicine they're lacking.
That's what they're lacking, because it has been proven in the United States and Britain that this actually is a medical medicine for cure. And let me look at the crazy connection between pep and hemp. You'll find out that in 1933, the first production of hemp took place in the United States. They say that in 1916, agricultural scientists in America discovered that it was possible to make paper from hemp pulp. Not only did paper derived from hemp have more favorable properties, it also produced 4 times the amount of paper per acre compared to trees.
Right.
But because of corruption between the baron who was growing cotton, and his name was William Hest, he found out that those who were growing hemp were getting more profit than him, and that's why him and the DuPont went to Congress, and they convened the Congress to pass a legislation banning marijuana. Otherwise, marijuana would have taken America to another level altogether.
So does that mean that whatever you're saying, that banning of marijuana, was it just for selfish interest and not for the interest of the country and the nation at large?
Yes, it was for selfish industry reasons, and then Christianity came in, and then the issue of repugnancy came in when the white man came in this country with his Bible and the sword on the right hand, telling Africans that whatever you have is wrong, and then they passed some of the ordinances, one of it which, in the words of the late Professor Okoth Ogendo, came up with the repugnancy clauses. What is African is wrong, what is for the white is right. And that's why, if I may compare that with what is happening with the current politicians, they have taken that theme of being white. We shall do things the white way, imitating white, what have you. I've lived in America and Britain for many years. I'm a farmer in the US, and I have children who are grown up in the UK. My wife is American. I know what I'm talking about. The thing that people don't want to tell us is when they know that something is going to be good and productive for an African or for a Kenyan, they rush to parliament, pass very punitive legislations. And that's why that's why 70% of prisoners in Kenya are petty prisoners. People have been taken there because of marijuana. An old man was jailed for so many years in Mombasa recently just because he had been found selling ganja for survival. This kind of lunacy has to end. Let us come out, especially those scholars, so-called scholars who don't copy and paste, copy regulations and paste to damage, to cause injustice in this country. Come up and say what? Okay. People might say I'm a madman.
Right.
Yes, I could be. I don't know, because I'm saying something that is very alien.
Sure.
But when it comes to education, who is more educated than I am here in this country today, especially from the legal perspective, in comparative analysis? Why is it that other presidents of other countries are depending on me on advice?
Right.
Why am I doing these big cases around the world? Because something is in one of the corners of my head.
Sure.
So what I'm trying to say, which is a reality, is that every Kenyan you talk to today, following the polls that were carried recently, 60% out of 100,000 people said yes to marijuana,
right,
yes to regulation, yes, Americans are doing it. Or are we waiting for the West now to come up and say, this thing is so nice, now we can now make a treaty, a convention, so that poor third world countries can come in? And that's why I'm going to tell the Chinese to leave. I'm going to pay them through marijuana.
Right.
Because the debt accumulation in this country is just too much. But probably Kenyans who want to join me en masse, and don't go in those rallies that you see people dancing and water. Come and volunteer. Obama did the same thing I'm doing today.
Right.
But he did it differently, and I'm doing mine differently.
Sure.
We got to legalize this so that we can allow every Kenyan to grow it under regulations, that he can sell it, because a sack of ganja today, a sack of ganja is 3,400. No, 3.4 million. What about sukuma wiki? Sijui kama naweza kuongea Kiswahili.
Sure,
yeah. Gunia moja sukuma wiki ni pesa ngapi? Na inachukua muda gani kupalilia sukuma wiki? Gunia mahindi ni pesa ngapi? Gunia ngano ni pesa ngapi? Gunia wimbi ni pesa ngapi? Na sasa tukiweka hayo magunia yote na moja ya ganja, mzungu akitoka huko atanuza gunia gani? Na sasa tukiwa na export kwenda nje, wazungu wasikia kwamba ndege fulani imebeba gunia moja kati ya ile mizigo ambayo inaingia katika nchi hii. Sio ndege itangojewa ni kama imebeba kitu gani? Na mbona hawa wanaivuta?
Sure.
Na sisi tukivuta tunaambiwa sisi ni wanafiki.
Right.
Hapana. Lazima tufanye hivi. In fact, as we speak, a president of a country who is my client called me and said, yeah, Kenyans need some kind of change.
Sure.
Because this lying and cheating and denacities, because the son of so-and-so will come in, then when so-and-so leaves, his grandson and what have you, we want to cut off, and that one I agree with Ruto. Though for wrong reasons I cannot sit down in the same government with him unless God comes or Satan comes and slaps me both sides.
Right.
But the amount of corruption these people have, that's what Kenyans should look into.
Right.
All these scandals that have been there. Who is the priest and the high priest of these scandals? Why are MPs being bought left, right, and center? Why can Kenyans replace these MPs in my party, Roots Party of Kenya, with people who are willing to come on the train, go out there, say ganja is good, we grow it, we regulate it, grow it, and then put our economy to the highest possible.
Right. Now, your approach seems to be so unique, to this presidential seat. And, we are seeing that you are really championing for change, and which is really a necessity for at this time in the country. What are probably some of unique strategies that you are bringing on board that will probably change the country for posterity and for the better of it for quite some time?
Simple things. Look at teachers. Look at primary school teachers and kindergarten teachers. Look at high school teachers. Look at police officers. Look at the image of a policeman.
Right.
Nowadays, if you look at a Kenyan police officer, because I was one, I was one of the first years of Kasarani here. If you look at a policeman in blue uniform, and you look at a British police officer in khaki, the previous uniform, and then you look at a Chinese policeman in blue uniform, and you go in Zambia and you also look at a policeman in Zambia with blue uniform. Chinese influence in Kenya. Influence that has been brought in through proxy, through a few men and women who sit up there. They do not want to look into what a police officer is going through.
Sure.
They do not want to remunerate this police officer. They do not want to find out what can we do in terms of mental illness to create up centers so that police officers who come from hardship areas, first of all, should be subject to treatment because of the hardship. Bring a police officer, transferring him without giving him equity, without giving him money to settle his family, without subsidizing him because he's going into a hard area. He said, you're loping him with Chinese uniform. I will also ban that uniform when I take over.
Right.
I will want to restore the image of a real police officer who was there. And I'm also going to bring 4 standing orders so that we have discipline in the police. How do you expect a police officer in Kasarani police station to be given an allowance of 15,000 to go and stay with people where he's not secure, his family is not secure, and because of the nature of his job? I mean, I am going to change that face. Number 2, teachers. I'm going to look into teachers and nurses on a very serious note because those are the custodians of liberties in this country. And if I grow more weed, I'll have enough money to make sure that green gold prospers, the country becomes rich, everyone who works for his own money, not hii mambo ya pesa mfukoni or 6,000 shillings that Raila is saying that you'll be giving to people who are disabled, which means you are wishing the country to age, to be disabled for you to give them money. Instead of giving them incentives, giving them the tools. Because ganja grows freely.
Right.
You don't need to manure it. You don't need to water it. It is a product. Like Bunyore, the people of Bunyore have told me that the day you start your campaign, don't go to Buhungu because it's polluted by the likes of those ones you know. Come to Bunyore, tell us, assure us if you're going to give us a county, Bunyore as a county, and make hemp to be the slogan for the Bunyores. And I'm going there.
Sure.
I am going there. So I'll look into infrastructure. I'll look at the Kenya Army Engineering Battalion, and look at the University of Nairobi and any other university that has civil engineering education, and put these men of men of honor, men and women of honor together to build our roads.
Right.
Instead of taking this money to the Chinese, the money will remain here for our people to utilize it. If you look at now the marginalized and the indigenous people, like the people of Pokot, the Sengwer, people who are not even, you can't know whether this man is a Kenyan or a woman. They're totally forgotten. Instead of them being proud as Kenyans, they have to lobby the government to be recognized.
Right.
Those indigenous people, we shall look at them. The Asian community. Yeah. I will make a cabinet secretary in charge of trade from the Asian community, because 92% of pharmaceutical industrial manufacturing is done by Asians, and that puts food on the table. 4 million Kenyans. Right. You can never see an Asian in a cabinet. In the cabinet, you can't see them. Yet they are very, very, very influential in terms of economic prepondering. Thriving. You go to Britain, the Home Secretary, Ms. Patel, is Asian. The Chancellor of Exchequer is Asian. The Minister for the Minister for Health is Asian, and even the Mayor of London, because of what the Asian community has done. Right. You go to to the US, the Vice President of the US is Asian, of Asian origin. You go to Canada, the Minister for Defense is Asian. Here, tunatumia Wahindi wakati wa elections. Sure. An Indian is looked at as an Indian businessman is looked at as a conduit of corruption. During elections, politicians wako pale, haya, we toa hii. Indians are dying. You don't see them joining the police as they were before during Kenyatta One's administration.
Right.
So we shall find out the causes of this, and that's why even my party has got a Secretary General who is Asian lawyer, because I want to bring them back. Instead of them exporting money outside, let the money remain here.
Maybe it's very interesting, Prof. When you're founding the party, the Roots Party of Kenya, the main ethics of this party, as I read before, it was fighting and ending corruption. What are some of the success stories that you've done, and probably moving forward, how would you want to use the party to completely phase out corruption in Kenya? In about 2 minutes, because of time.
I just want Kenyans who are listening to me, those who have not registered to vote, go and register. Registration is free. Volunteer to join Roots and go and vote for Roots. Roots will change you. But if you look at me as a third, whatever phraseologies that are coming up, second horse, third horse, these same men you are going to elect, ni nyinyi mtasafa, not me. Me, at least I've dug my graves. I've gotten something out of it. I've gotten some kind of education. My children are okay. It's you to suffer. If you want to change this country, please use your vote, come out and guide it, and come out en masse, register as candidates for Roots Party, and we shall change this country. And it will be amazing. You'll be laughing when you take over State House, and I'm sure within the next 3-4 weeks, the narrative will change as it has changed. And what we have changed, the narrative that has come out right now, it's going to be very difficult for the so-called Azimio, earthquake, Davadis earthquake, and they are not telling us what they stole before. It will not be of any consequence at all.
Thank you so much, Prof, for that. Maybe we need to have this conversation again and again so that you articulate,